So you're thinking about moving to Cincinnati, but you're not really sure where to start. Hi, I'm Scott Oyler with Oyler Hines.
And I'm Mike Hines with Oyler Hines.
And today we're going to break down with over 52 neighborhoods in Cincinnati. Plus you got suburbs neighborhoods, as well as Northern Kentucky as an option.
There's a lot that goes into this decision, and that's why we made this video. It's the ultimate guide to buying and where to buy in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I lived in Cincinnati for, you were saying, 42 years.
And I've lived for 40 years, now going on 40 years.
So over 80 years of knowledge on top of serving over 3,000 real estate clients. Yeah, and there's a lot of different factors, right?
There is.
You want walkability, convenience for commutes, school districts, or want to be close to things to do. And we're going to break all that down as we get through this video.
So first off, before we start really talking about the different criteria, let's just talk about how great Cincinnati is to live. I mean, there's a reason we've lived here for almost 4 decades each. We absolutely love it. There's so much to do. It's kind of a nice little Midwest cross between kind of big city and smaller city, right?
Exactly. You got those big city amenities, but still that small town feel in a lot of ways and sense of community. Don't have to deal with the traffic and all the different things that come along now. Some people will still say we have traffic, but not when you compare it to some of the other.
We're not LA.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and one of my favorite details about Cincinnati is just the people. I mean, the people are fantastic, and we love it. That's why it keeps us here every single day.
Absolutely. So let's start with the big one. Where do you want to live? And depending on who you are, you may be in a different life phase or have different interests. And really, truly understanding kind of what's important to you is going to determine where to live. So we're going to toss out some different neighborhoods. There are certainly others because there's so many neighborhoods, but we're going to toss out some neighborhoods that may fit in where people are.
Sure. Kind of look at almost like avatars of people. You may be coming to Cincinnati because you want to be close to family in a certain area. You want to go to a community town center where it's close and walkable. Or you may be looking for something more urban and vibrant, where you can just live a different lifestyle, right? Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't have kids. There's so much that plays into this.
Or something more private with a lot of acres.
Exactly. Plenty of privacy and space for you to spread out.
Right. So one of the ones we get a lot is people say, hey, I want walkability. Right. So walkability, the first neighborhoods I always think of when it comes to walkability is kind of your Hyde Park, Mount Lookout, Oakley, all 3 neighborhoods really close together, all have kind of their town centers, very walkable neighborhoods, breweries, restaurant shops, coffee shops. So those are the first 3 neighborhoods that always kind of come to mind to me when we're talking about walkability and proximity. If you want to be close to downtown, there's those neighborhoods that are kind of, right as you go up 71, so the first neighborhoods that you get into where you don't feel too far removed from downtown Cincinnati, but you still have that community feel with that walkability and all that.
And they are very established, right? For decades, people have been gravitating to these city centers, right? In Hyde Park and Oakley, and that's what makes them so great. I would actually, if you took a little bit further out, you could go into Montgomery and Madeira, also very walkable, but more suburban on that front. But then even if you go back to the city for a second, you have Madisonville, or you have other cities that maybe are growing. And, they're just maybe not quite as established as Hyde Park when it comes to the caliber of homes that are built there and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's on their price point, right? Correct. So you're going to have the Oakley, Mount Lookout, Hyde Park. So those are going to be a little bit more expensive. And actually, we just filmed our great neighborhoods for first-time home buyers.
Sure did.
Madisonville and Pleasant Ridge were on there.
Absolutely.
Those are very walkable neighborhoods as well, with a price point that's much more affordable.
Absolutely. Yeah, really coming up. It's just coming up the ranks. It's great shops, great places, so super walkable and all. The walkability is a big key to you. These are neighborhoods that would be worth considering.
So let's say you're looking more for that hustle and bustle, more the urban feel, want to really experience kind of Cincinnati city living, right? And some of that may be for folks who want great views as well.
Sure thing.
So we're going to kind of lump these together. And when it comes to city living, OTR is a big one. I mean, if you It has such an unbelievable foodie scene. Also incredible walkability, obviously. Kind of that urban kind of goes right into that.
The FC
the walkability.
So much right there.
Yeah, so you can be in the CBD or OTR. OTR, the architecture is unbelievable. And it's more, you got a lot of folks who want maybe condo living, right? That's a great neighborhood if you're interested in kind of condo living. And then I would also add Mount Adams, right? To that. I mean, Mount Adams, incredible views of the city as well as, walkable up there, but, you can easily get right downtown Cincinnati, and it's got its own little, entertainment area and scene up there.
And if we can jump across the river from there, you have the same sort of options when you have Bellevue and Covington, Newport, Dayton, Kentucky. These are all very similar areas to what we just described, with their own little different flair, their own feel, and they're all charming, great places, walkable, but a little bit more bustling, a little more action happening.
A little bit more.
So you have options on both sides of the river. That's a whole other video, by the way, the Kentucky versus Cincinnati. That's a big decision in itself. But those are great, bustling, kind of downtown core-ish feelings.
Yeah. Now let's talk about maybe those that want more of that suburban lifestyle, with the yard and playing ball in the backyard with Junior.
We both kind of did that a little bit. I was down in Oakley for a while, and then now I'm out in the burbs because I had some kids and that sort of thing. So,
And same here. I was in Oakley and in Madeira now, but there's a lot of different great neighborhoods. If you're looking for the suburban neighborhood feel with Madeira, Montgomery that we mentioned before, they're very walkable. You've got Loveland, Anderson Township is another one. Mason has got a lot going on with newer development. It'd be kind of like, Mason's its own city, technically, over there. There's a lot of great new development going on with, the new 50 West going out there. Obviously, you got Kings Island and the tennis tournament out there. So Mason's its own beast. So as you go further up 71, he's maybe a little bit further from the city core than what we talked about, but offers that more suburban feel that you may have
used to elsewhere. Yes. Yeah. Well, and another thing to kind of break down is the history of Cincinnati, right? We had you had downtown right along the river, and it started just sprawling. So you talk about Mason and Westchester and maybe Anderson Township. Those areas, it's more kind of suburban sprawl, sprawling in there. Whereas you look at Madeira and you look at even Hyde Park, Montgomery, those areas, those are more established communities that have been around for 60, 70, 80 years. And now it's more teardowns for new construction, or maybe older homes that are being renovated and that sort of thing. So it's just a different feel.
Yeah.
But I like to say, people, when they drive through, they know what they like and they know what they gravitate to.
Absolutely. And those that are looking for more of that new construction, more of those new construction or more affordable new construction opportunities are going to be in your Masons, your Westchesters, Mainville, up to Lebanon.
Yep, just getting a little further out.
As you get further out, and then same on the northern Kentucky side as you get into Florence and Independence.
Absolutely.
Some of those neighborhoods as well.
That 275 loop really helps anchor in maybe those older established communities, and then you get outside of that, it's more of those sprawling, newer development communities. And then newer, keep in mind, that can be the 1990s.
Yeah.
Not that new anymore.
Right.
It's like we're saying we're young. Same idea.
The next big question is affordability. So right now, actually the median home value in May of 2024 crossed $300,000 for the first time, right?
It's a big deal.
And really kind of depends on what your budget is. And so what we're gonna kind of break down, or what are some neighborhoods to kind of consider on the lower end of the budget, and what are some neighborhoods to consider as the higher end of the budget as their median home values are going to go much higher.
Sure. So let's start with some of the lesser expensive home options. Keep in mind, this is all relative to people, right? It's everybody's budget is different. But when you come in and you're looking at lower, lesser expensive options, you're looking at areas maybe in the city, something like Madisonville, Pleasant Ridge, even though Pleasant Ridge is still rising up quite a bit.
Norwood, which is another one that, and a lot of these are in our first time homebuyer video, but Norwood's on the rise.
Silverton, even something like along those lines, or you're looking at different parts of East Walnut Hills. Go over to the west side, you have different communities over there. North side,
is a north side. You've got Westwood, you have College Hill as well as another great one. and as you get further west into Green Township. So those are some good areas to consider if you've got a little bit lighter budget under that median home value of $300,000. And some of those really, their median values are right around there. But if the budget's a little bit tighter, those are some neighborhoods that you'd want to consider.
And go back for a quick second, Scott. We did a really interesting calculation and just look back as far as stats goes. Back in 2020 to 2021, the median home value was $200,000.
Yeah.
So just in 3 years, it's now $300,000.
Yeah, I think it was May of 2020 is when the median home values were across 200,000, right? So just in, 4 short years,
bumped quite a bit. And most people are seeing that everywhere across the country. But so we're not, it's not a surprise here in Cincinnati. It's just happening.
But when you think about it, 300,000 around the country is super affordable. We have incredibly affordable options here, which we're very lucky. So let's go and break down maybe some of those neighborhoods that are going to be north of that median home value. Once again, there's always going to be some in those neighborhoods that are going to be higher, some that are going to be lower, things like that. But so let's kind of hit that median home value, kind of that 300 to 6 or 7, some options that are available there.
So some of the options there, we're looking more at areas like, let's go in the suburbs and work our way backwards. Let's say Sims Township, maybe parts of Loveland. As you're kind of coming in, you have communities like Oakley, which we were just talking about before, a nice walkable district. Oakley. Again, keep in mind, these are kind of the next ones that are rising up a little bit. They've come a long way over the past in several decades.
Another one I put on the list is Anderson Township. Anderson's is a large area, obviously, but they would fit into this category. But there's been a lot of luxury, high-end going into Anderson Township. We've seen Mr. Joe Burrow move to Anderson Township, which we've talked about in some of our previous videos. So Anderson does have some high-end luxury as well, but if that budget is a little bit higher than the median home value, that's another great option for folks.
Sure. Blue Ash, Sharonville, those are two other ones that are really good. Again, there's $5 million homes in Anderson, just like there are $200,000. Right. This isn't the carte blanche rule over here, but it is areas where if your budget's somewhere in that 300 to 600 as you mentioned, these are great opportunities, great areas.
And if we're bumping the budget up, let's say getting closer to $1 million above, kind of that, we'll call it 750, 800 and above. Some of the great options that are available. We'll talk about kind of the ultra luxury area in Cincinnati is going to be Indian Hill. That's for someone who really wants a lot of privacy. Most of the lots you're going to see are 3 or 5 acre lots or larger. And that is where the median home values are the highest in greater Cincinnati.
Yeah. And then you have areas like Hyde Park. You have Madeira, Montgomery. There's all sorts of areas. A lot of them do hug that I-71 corridor going out. It seems to be that way. But again, if you jump over to Anderson or Blue Ash, you may have plenty of homes that are in that 800 to $1 million.
Correct. And I would probably put Madeira in that category of the category before. They've got some higher end homes, but also has some homes that are very reasonably priced. You may just get a little bit less money on a price per square foot.
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
Marymount is the same way. I mean, Marymount, is a very high price per square foot over there, and I would kind of put them in this luxury category if you've got a good budget. That's super walkable. We were talking about walkable earlier. I don't think we mentioned Marymount. That's a super walkable one.
It's a misstep. We should add
that. And then also on the higher end luxury, you have Terrace Park as well is another great one. And then if you get closer into the city, Mike mentioned Hyde Park and Mount Lookout, but then also Mount Adams, which we talked about earlier, and then even some of your higher end condos, townhomes, brownstones, whatever you call them in OTR. There's some affordable options, so 1 bedrooms, but if you're starting to have your standalone building, you're going to get up in that luxury price point and your price per square foot.
So let's change gears for a second and talk about historic homes, new homes versus historic homes, because that's some people come in and they say, I want only new.
Yeah.
So what if you were just saying you wanted only new, where would you go?
Yeah. So my mind immediately goes to Mason, Westchester, Liberty Township, and
Loveland in a lot of ways has quite a few new communities, newish. And we're going to say new is anything from the 2000s.
Yeah. Mainville, Lebanon, those areas. That's as you're getting a little bit further out, but that's where most of your new construction is going to be. And then as you get closer in, there's a lot of infill, tear down new builds. But once again, got to have a pretty big budget from a tear down and new build, at least probably 810
million and up.
Yeah, is really the starting point to do one of those. So those are the neighborhoods I think of. Now, when you think of historic homes, you want older architecture, maybe a little bit more character. You know, we get that a lot of times. I don't want the cookie cutter house. I want more character. Where would those folks go?
You know, I like to see, they think they hug the core downtown Cincinnati as much as possible. Well, really, if you're looking at, of course, Over the Rhine has the most history that you can absolutely see just down there, that rich German history. And then as you go outwards, you have Walnut Hills, a lot of incredible homes, Mount Adams, Hyde Park. It's just some incredible homes over there. So really, but then over on the west side as well, you have some really cool.
Yeah, Westwood's got a lot of historic, great architecture as well. And as Mike said, it's a lot of those neighborhoods, those first neighborhoods, just right outside of downtown Cincinnati. Clifton Gaslight is a really cool neighborhood. And that's another one we could add on the walkability list that I think we skipped. I think that's what's great about Cincinnati. There are a lot of neighborhoods with great walkability. I feel like we keep coming back to that, but Clifton Gaslight is another one with some great charm and history. Marymount, which we had had on the list earlier in one of our other segments. Those are the neighborhoods that I think of. And then on the other side of the river, your Covington, Fort Thomas, and those neighborhoods as well. We probably need to give a little bit more love to our Kentucky friends, where once again, Fort Thomas could be added to that neighborhood with walkability and things like that as well.
So let's say you just want to be close to that one main thing. Let's say you're a huge roller coaster fan and you want to be near Kings Island. That may be a bad example. Or you want to be near one of the many parks that we have, Alt Park, that sort of thing. Sometimes people tell us they want to be near an attraction. Yeah. Or even maybe sometimes work related. Right. Let's talk about attractions. Yeah. There are so many great ones. NFL stadiums or the ballparks. Yeah. Being downtown or in the city and close to that core.
Right. So if you're someone who wants to be close to everything that's going on with the arts, to going to shows, plays, the ballet, or maybe you're a sports fanatic. We've got FC Cincinnati, Cincinnati Reds, Cincinnati Bengals. Those are all going to be in the city core, right? So it's going to be those neighborhoods that are relatively close to downtown, which we kind of highlighted. Your Covington, Newport, Bellevue, and the northern Kentucky side of the river. And then in Cincinnati, CBD, obviously it's going to be the closest. OTR, and as you go out, Mount Adams, Hyde Park, Walnut Hills, Westwood, some of those neighborhoods that surround downtown and get you close to those attractions.
Absolutely. And then you have so many, the observatory. In Hyde Park alone, you have Alt Park Observatory. You have so much there. So sometimes people want to be close to that walkability and those attractions. Yeah. Or as you get a little bit further out, some folks want to be next to the Cincinnati Nature Preserve, which is out a little bit further near Milford, and that's right thing to be close to that. So that's more of a one-off. If you have something in your mind that really drives you, that really just interests you, and you want to be close to it, a lot of times that's work. Let's be honest. Like work is like, I need to be 20 minutes from here, 5 minutes from here. I want to be walkable to that. That's going to drive that. But occasionally you do get folks that want to be close to something specific.
We hear shopping a lot. Kelwood Town Center is the largest mall in Cincinnati, and has all the major retailers and things like that. So we have folks that want to be close to that, which is going to be your Kenwood, your Deer Park, your Madeira, Indian Hill, and we've been out a few others there that
there's always some
pretty close, right? But those are going to be in your closest neighborhoods. Montgomery, Montgomery is far off.
Well, the biggest struggle with all of this is that you have the criteria that's most important to you as a buyer, right? So you know what drives you. And so we can have all of these different criteria, but really when it comes down to it, you have what you're looking for. And some of these neighborhoods, maybe there's only one that's perfect for you. Maybe there's 10 perfect for you. So that's why we're here, to help you craft that perfect plan to find this.
Absolutely. And that's where it really all starts off, Mike, is having that buyer strategy session and really talking about needs, wants, because what you may think you want from what you're researching online to what you actually get here may be very different. I think one of the mistakes I hear I talked to my coworkers and they told me I should be in this neighborhood. Well, that may be a great neighborhood for your coworker, but is it the right neighborhood?
How well do they know you?
How well do they really know you as you're relocating to the area? But hopefully we've provided at least some ideas, guidance, direction of what you're looking for. But really at the end of the day, it's that one-on-one, really getting to know that person and saying, hey, okay, here's some neighborhoods that you said you're interested in. Here are maybe some other ones to consider. Just drive by and drive through based on what's important to you. And that's what's most important.
Yeah, it is. And that's why we're here. That's why we have a team here at your disposal to ask questions. So as you're watching this video, as you're diving into this deep, and this is getting more serious for you as a search, and you're moving to Cincinnati, reach out to us. Call us. We're lucky enough to be the #1 team here in greater Cincinnati, selling more homes, working with more families like yourself than any other team. But that also gives us the resources and the breadth of knowledge to be experts on pretty much every single one of these communities. Maybe not Scott and I, each of our team members know these areas so well that we can get resources.
So if you found this video beneficial, please make sure you like and subscribe our channel so that you can see more great videos like this, whether informational, property tours. We have a lot of great content hitting our YouTube channel each week.
And of course, you can always reach out to us by giving us a call. You can call our main line, call one of our cell phone numbers, or you can email Scott at oylerhines.com, Mike at oylerhines.com, and we hope we have a chance to talk to you. At the very least, give us a call. We'll point you in the right direction so you can feel more comfortable with your search.
And before you head out, make sure you check the next video on here, which is the top suburbs in greater Cincinnati, if you found this video informative. Until next time, we'll see ya.
See y'all.